Hi and welcome. It's round 2 of the Altibox Norway Chess tournament. Now in the first round we looked at the game between Magnus Carlsen and Fabiano Caruana, which was interesting because they will meet in the World Championship match later this year, 2018. But today we are going to look at the game from round 2 between Magnus Carlsen with black against his past challenger, Sergey Karjakin. Sergey tried to dethrone Carlsen last time around, but failed to do so, so Carlsen retained his world title, but can't do so against Caruana. That remains to be seen. I think he will. But yes, in this second round we saw a game where Magnus displayed some very good opening preparation. Karjakin had white, and they played a number of games together. Now this is not their game. Sorry for that. Karjakin opened with e4. And in their match, we saw a lot of Berlins and anti-Berlins, but Carlsen in this game opted for a6, seemingly heading for a mainline Spanish after bishop a4, knight f6, castles, and now we've seen squirrel games with bishop to e7. However, Carlsen surprised everybody here with bishop to c5. Now this variation is very often played with b5 first. I think it's called the Arkhangelsk variation, something like that. You play b5 then bishop c5. Actually, it can transpose. In the game, Karjakin played c3, and here Carlsen could play b5. Okay, white does have the extra option of bishop to c2, but some years ago they were debating lines like this at the top level, where black sacrifices the pawn on b5 after knight a3, black just castles, gives this pin on g4, and white is forced to attack on e4 as well. He's forced to give up this double pawn, and knight h5, and black, you know, get some chances, but my feeling is that this was more or less a drawing variation. But bishop c5 immediately after c3, black castle. So now it's completely different because white is allowed to play d4 and get the pawn duo in the center. Now black wants to maintain his own center as much as he can, so taking on d4 is almost out of the question. The center will be too strong for white, so bishop to a7, d takes e5, and of course with this being protected we play knight takes e4 and queen d5. Now with the knight being attacked, we don't have much of a choice here. The pawn is pinned, we can't play f5 to protect it, so knight c5 is more or less the only move. And now similar for white, your bishop is attacked, so bishop c2, you might think about bishop g5, but bishop c2 is the move. And now black needs to solve the problem of the bishop on c8, and he plays knight to e7, queen to d1, and d5. This frees the bishop, but it does allow white to take en passant e takes d6, and after queen takes, black is settled with this pawn weakness. Now this had been played before by Karjakin with white against Onichuk some 7 or 8 years ago, and there Karjakin got a nice position and should have won. But it seems that Carlsen, well, actually he gave credit to his team, Carlsen and his team, seems like they found, you know, a chink in the armor. They found a way to quite easily neutralize for black here, and Carlsen actually made a very easy draw in this game. So this whole line with bishop c5, it's been played this year by Wojtaszek with black against Topalov, but I don't think this will be something that will really catch on. But here is the moment that that is of interest in this game. Carlsen played bishop g4. In the game we mentioned, Karjakin against Olenciuk, bishop to f5 was played, and Karjakin got a good position. He simply developed his pieces, got a nice knight here on d4, and this remained a weakness. And yeah, basically it was suffering for black. In today's game, however, Carlsen played bishop to g4. And the big idea comes after the obvious rook takes d6. Other moves such as bishop to e3 allow black to take on f3, play something like d5, and the knight is coming to e6, and black should be fine here. A nice pawn structure. So the obvious move seems to be rook takes d6, but now comes the cunning move, and Carlsen played this all rather fast. He played bishop to f5, and this looks really strange. Why do you play bishop to g4 and then back to f5? I don't claim I fully understand it, but I'm going to try to explain it as I understand it. Now, first and foremost, this is a computer idea, a computer move, but Carlsen said, of course, the computer was used to find the idea, but once you see it, it makes more sense. And the thing is, once you take on d6, now two things have happened. One is, now the d file is open, and black will use that to his advantage in many lines. And secondly, now if you take on f5, black will actually take with a knight. And now all of a sudden this wins a tempo, the rook must go somewhere, and now rook a to d8. And white actually has to be really careful. Black has a firm initiative here, and white is undeveloped. So this would have been a nice development for Carlsen, but the Minister of Defense was up to the task. And the other idea with this tempo loss is that you're kind of, with bishop f5, you are undermining this bishop, which is controlling d1, and once you land the rook on d8, you're also eyeing d1. So black will get sufficient counterplay via the d file in many lines. But yeah, very interesting idea. But like I said, this is such a, I think this is a one-off. This is not something that Carlsen will build his repertoire around, or necessarily even play again. And I don't think this will catch on even at top levels, because it's black is only playing for a draw, and you know, if there are improvements found for white, it will definitely be suffering for black. But you know, for this game, this idea worked, and this is sort of how modern preparation works. Sometimes you just, you know, pick a line, pick an idea that you think you can use for the current game, and then you just, you know, you throw it away. It's gone. But okay, Karjakin played knight a3, which is probably the best move. And now with Carlsen having prepared this line, he played knight e4, which was the computer first choice. There's pressure on f2, so white is forced to give up the bishop pair. And now with the pair of bishops for black, let's get the main board actually. Now with the pair of bishops for black, I mean, he's down a pawn, but usually the pair of bishops is considered ample compensation for a pawn. There was a game yesterday between Aronian and Anand where Aronian was down a pawn but had the bishop pair and drew quite easily. Now the rook came back to d1, bishop to f5, sorry, knight to f5, we just had bishop f5. If he had gone back to f5, that would be really strange, and I could not explain that. But knight f5 is logical. It's preventing white from landing a piece on d4. If black had done something else, let's say, yeah, rook somewhere, not on d8, then white can maybe land a knight on d4, put a bishop on e3, and try to get a stronghold on the d4 square. But knight f5 plays against that, not allowing anything on d4. I'm not doing a very good job with the variation board color, but we'll let it be for this one. Knight to c4. Okay, getting ready to put something on e3. And again, Carlsen plays the approved computer move, rook f to e8. And now Karjakin decides to stick something on e3. But this is almost like offering a draw. Having said that, I don't really have a suggestion for white to do anything else. And what follows now is a mass exchange on e3 and f3. Bishop takes e3, knight takes, pawn takes, and bishop takes f3, which of course opens the e file for the rook, gf, and rook takes e3. So now Carlsen has regained his pawn. For now, white has a very, very small edge in that he has his rook on the 7th. But black will neutralize this quite quickly. Usually we don't like such a passive rook, rook b8 only covering a pawn. But very quickly, black is able to neutralize the pressure on the d file and the 7th rank. If white was able to double, then maybe it would be a problem, but you don't have time for it. The rook is coming to e7, rook e7 here. After rook d8, you can probably take and play rook e8, but Carlsen simply played rook e8. He allowed this passive rook again, now in the, before it was in the double rook ending, now it's in the single rook ending, but he's playing b5 and then rook b6, and then his rook will no longer be passive. And this didn't really last long here. c4, king d7, cp, ap, and now more liquidation, rook b6, and they exchange the a and b pawns. And this is actually a dead draw. And they just kept on making some moves until move 40, king to e6, just keeping control of the pawn chain, rook b6, king f5, and now a repetition, and they reach move 40, so they could agree to a draw. All the other games in the second round were drawn, so actually Magnus is the only one who has won a game so far, which means that Magnus leads with 1.5. 8 players have 1 point, and Caruana is in last place with half a point. So yeah, pretty nice preparation by Carlsen. In general, he said he didn't mind, the draw. It's not like he has been winning a ton of games with black against Karjakin. Karjakin is extremely solid and hard to beat, especially with the black pieces. So Carlsen didn't mind, kind of a short day after a busy day yesterday where he won a long game against Caruana. But yeah, that's the second round. Hopefully we'll have more interesting games in round 3, and yeah, I'll try to cover more games. I had a busy day today, not much time. Hopefully tomorrow we can be ready and cover the games that we need to cover. And I'll see you then. Bye bye.